As I pulled into the driveway, the warm glow of my house illuminated the darkness. It had been a lengthy and arduous business trip, and I was eager to embrace my wife, Patricia, in my arms, indulge in a libation, and repose for a week. I was taken aback to discover the front door unlocked, as if my wife had forgotten to secure it. This seemingly minor detail only served to enhance my affection for her. I opened the door discreetly, hoping to catch her unawares. The house was silent, and the lights were dimmed, indicating that she was probably asleep. I proceeded to our bedroom, my heart filled with warmth and love. However, upon opening the door, I was met with a stark contrast. Patricia, my beloved wife, was in bed with Ethan, my closest friend. The sight of them together was akin to a punch to the gut. My mind was in a state of disarray, unable to comprehend the scene before me. However, the sound of my sharp intake of breath jolted them awake. Patricia screamed, pulling the sheets around her, and Ethan jumped up, cursing. They looked at me with wide, terrified eyes. I felt my world crumble and was replaced by a cold, hard resolve. My father's face flashed before me, serving as a painful reminder of another betrayal from years ago. This was a road I had previously traversed and was therefore aware of the necessary course of action. I did not shout or create a scene, instead, I let out a chilling laugh. I was surprised by my own voice, which was icy and detached. I instructed them to get dressed, stating that we would discuss the matter later. I then turned and walked out, leaving them in a state of shock and guilt. I proceeded to the guest room, where my mind began. This situation could be likened to a game of chess, and I was now a grandmaster at it. Over the following weeks, I ensured that I maintained a distance from Patricia and Ethan. While I remained cordial with them, I ensured that they could not see beyond my polite smiles and empty words. During this time, I gathered evidence of their affair, including emails, messages, and pictures. Ethan was particularly susceptible to manipulation due to his weaknesses, namely greed and ambition. I therefore introduced him to a lucrative investment opportunity that I had identified. He was offered the opportunity to multiply his wealth rapidly through a fraudulent scheme. However, Ethan was so eager to obtain the promised fortune that he failed to recognize the scheme's illegality. Patricia, on the other hand, was grappling with her own personal issues. I could discern the guilt that was consuming her, making her restless. She was driven to confess, but I exploited her fears. In the event that Ethan finds himself in any legal trouble as a result of this investment, I may be able to provide assistance. I informed her of this, and she agreed to maintain her silence in return for my discretion. As Ethan's financial situation deteriorated, I intervened on his behalf, offering him the sole condition that he relinquish his shares in a technology company. As collateral, he was initially reluctant, but the imminent threat of bankruptcy ultimately compelled him to agree. Patricia finally confessed, her face pale and eyes brimming with tears. I feigned shock and attempted to persuade her that we should assist Ethan in extricating himself from this predicament. She acquiesced and, with her own savings, purchased Ethan, transferred the shares at a nominal price, and the fraud was subsequently revealed. The investors were left with no financial resources. Ethan was among them. The legal implications of his involvement ensured that he could not recover his financial standing. Patricia was left with nothing but the declining shares of the technology company. Finally, I proceeded to elucidate the intricacies of my meticulous plan of revenge, elucidating how I had exploited their weaknesses and used their own sins against them. I then informed Patricia of my intention to file for divorce. Despite her initial hesitation, I cut her off, asserting that there would be no further deceit. Patricia, I am no longer deceiving you. You made your choices, and these are the consequences. The aftermath of my revenge was a hollow victory. I had won the game, but the taste of triumph was bitter. I looked at the ruins of my life, my marriage, and my friendship, all tainted with betrayal and vengeance, and felt a pang of regret as I sat in my now empty house, pondering the transformation I had undergone. I had permitted my heart to be tainted by the poison of revenge, just as my father had done all those years ago. However, I was determined not to allow this to define me. I was not going to become a prisoner of my past, and so I resolved to start anew. I sold my house, my cars, and all other possessions that had served as reminders of my former life. As a reminder of my previous life, I resigned from my successful law firm, leaving behind a career that had defined me for an extended period. However, I was not afraid, as I was confident that I could rebuild and create a better future for myself. I relocated to a different city, where I was unknown and my past was unconnected to me. I used my wealth to establish a non-profit law firm dedicated to providing legal assistance to those who could not afford a good lawyer. This was my way of seeking redemption for the wrongs I had committed. I found a sense of peace that my revenge had never brought me. I realized that it was not vengeance that I had been seeking, but justice. Justice for a young boy who had been. I established a non-profit law firm to provide legal assistance to individuals who could not afford legal representation. This endeavor represented my attempt at atonement for the wrongs I had committed. As I worked assiduously on this endeavor, I experienced a sense of inner peace that I had not attained through revenge. I came to understand that my pursuit of vengeance was not the answer. Instead, I sought justice for a young boy who had been. His father's infidelity had left him scarred, having been wronged by those he loved. In pursuing justice, he finally found his purpose and salvation. Despite being marked by betrayal and vengeance, he was determined not to let this be his end story. Secondly, he had not anticipated finding himself in this situation. His name is John, and up until my life appeared to be the epitome of perfection. I was gainfully employed as a software engineer at a reputable company, and I was married to Emily, the love of my life. We resided in a comfortable home and enjoyed the company of good friends. Everything seemed to be going well. Emily was a dedicated fitness enthusiast who frequently attended gym sessions. Initially, I did not attach much significance to her sessions with a personal trainer, Mark. I merely encouraged her to pursue her interests in order to maintain her health and fitness. However, as time progressed, I began to observe subtle alterations in her behavior. She became increasingly distant, spending a greater amount of time away from home and exhibiting unusual secrecy regarding her activities. These were mere indications that might have gone unnoticed by others, but not by me. While others remained unaware, I sensed something was amiss. Despite lacking concrete evidence, I began to suspect something untoward was occurring. One day, while searching for something in Emily's car, I came across a folded piece of paper. My curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. The note was handwritten by Mark, her personal trainer. Its contents suggested a romantic relationship between them. I was shocked and heartbroken. I felt like the ground beneath me was crumbling away. I could not ignore this revelation. I needed to know the truth. Therefore, I made up my mind to gather evidence and confront Emily. I had to be sure before I confronted her. It was not sufficient to simply accuse her without concrete proof. It was a painful decision, but I was convinced that it was necessary to unveil the truth. I therefore decided to take matters into my own hands and set up a hidden camera in Emily's car. It was a risk invading her privacy like that, but I was unable to bear the uncertainty any longer. I needed to see the truth. With my own eyes, late at night while Emily was asleep, I installed the hidden camera in her car. It was positioned in a discreet manner to ensure that it would not be easily detected. With a mix of anticipation and dread, I activated the camera and began the painstaking process of gathering evidence. Days turned into weeks, and I lived. In a state of constant anxiety, I was compelled to ascertain the veracity of my suspicions. Each evening, I retrieved the memory card from the camera with great anticipation, eager to ascertain its contents. The moment of truth finally arrived. I sat in my dimly lit room, heart pounding, as I watched the recorded videos. My hands trembled as I fast-forwarded through the footage, hoping to find evidence that would either confirm or deny my suspicions. I spent hours hoping to find something that would confirm or deny my suspicions. Eventually, I viewed a video that shattered my world. I watched in agony as the intimate moments between Emily and Mark unfolded before my eyes. The pain I felt was indescribable. It was as if a knife had been driven into my heart, twisting and turning with each betrayal. The images captured on the screen revealed a profound deception on the part of the individual I had loved and trusted. This discovery led to a profound sense of distress and despair, accompanied by insomnia and a pervasive feeling of hopelessness. I was unable to comprehend how Emily could have committed such an act against me and our marriage. Anger and betrayal coursed through my veins, fueling a burning desire to confront her and expose her infidelity. In the face of a confluence of anger and betrayal, I found myself compelled to reveal the truth. The evidence I had amassed was too compelling to be ignored. It was time for Emily to face the consequences of her actions. The opportunity arose when I learned that Emily was scheduled to deliver a pivotal presentation at her workplace. Given the high-pressure situation and the presence of colleagues and superiors, I deemed it an opportune moment to confront her and reveal the evidence of her affair. As the day arrived, I mustered the courage I had left and proceeded to the building, my heart pounding with anticipation and nerves. The presentation had already. I made my way to the back of the room, ensuring I had a clear view of Emily. She stood at the front of the room, her voice steady as she delivered her carefully prepared speech. However, her facade of innocence was about to crumble, as evidenced by her sweaty palms and trembling voice. I approached the front of the room, holding the evidence in my hands. I stood beside Emily, holding the evidence in my hands, and the room fell silent. All eyes turned towards us. I spoke with a quivering voice, a mixture of pain and anger, and said, "I have something to show you all." I then revealed the hidden camera footage, which displayed the closeness between Emily and Mark. The room was filled with gasps of disbelief as her colleagues and superiors watched. The colleagues observed the screen, their jaws dropping in shock. Emily's face turned pale, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and guilt. She attempted to form words that could somehow justify her actions, but it was too late. The room erupted in a chaotic mixture of whispers, gasps, and murmurs. Emily's carefully constructed facade, her professional reputation, and personal integrity were irrevocably damaged. As I exited the room, I was overwhelmed by a complex array of emotions, including a sense of relief and heartache. The pain of betrayal was still palpable, yet I was also burdened by the knowledge that I had played a role in unearthing the truth. The secret had been revealed, and the truth was out. Emily could no longer avoid the consequences of her actions. I made a decision that would further complicate the lives of those involved. I sought out Mark's wife, Lisa, driven by a need for solace and justice. She deserved to know the truth. As I did, Lisa was a woman who had been betrayed by her own husband, deceived by the same web of lies that had entangled me. It was a painful conversation, filled with tears and shared anguish. I revealed the truth about Mark and Emily's affair, laying bare the painful reality that had been kept hidden from her. The revelation had a profound impact on her. The revelation had a profound impact on Lisa, whose life had been built on the foundations of trust and love. She was faced with the challenging decision of how to move forward, whether to salvage her marriage or to part ways with a man who had caused her significant emotional distress. The consequences of the affair extended beyond Mark and Emily's immediate circle. The betrayal had a profound impact on the personal lives of all parties involved, extending to their families, friends, and professional networks. The resulting upheaval exposed cracks in relationships that had previously seemed unbreakable. In light of these circumstances, I had reached the decision that I could no longer continue in a marriage that was tainted by lies and betrayal. Consequently, I filed for divorce. I was resolved to terminate all ties with Emily and embark on a new phase of my life. The divorce proceedings became a battleground where emotions ran high and every decision felt like a personal attack. The division of assets became a source of contention as we fought vigorously to protect what we believed was rightfully ours. The formerly happy couple was now engaged in a bitter legal battle, each attempting to claim victory in their own way. However, amidst the chaos and animosity, there were moments of clarity. It became evident that fighting over material possessions would only serve to prolong the pain and delay the healing process. Consequently, a shift in focus towards one's own well-being was necessary. I began to rebuild my life from the ground up with the support of my friends and family, who provided me with unwavering support. They became my pillars of strength, offering a listening ear, words of encouragement, and a reminder that I was not alone in this journey. Therapy became a vital part of my healing process. I sought professional guidance to navigate the complex emotions I was experiencing. It was through therapy that I began to unravel the layers of pain, betrayal, and self-doubt. I came to terms with the doubt that had accumulated over time. I learned to forgive myself for not seeing the signs earlier and to accept that the choices of others were beyond my control. Gradually, I started to regain my sense of self. I concentrated on my career, investing my energy in my work as a software engineer. The professional realm provided a refuge where I could channel my emotions into something productive, thereby acquiring a sense of purpose and accomplishment. This enabled me to rebuild my confidence one project at a time, despite the ongoing legal battle. I made a conscious decision to rise above the bitterness and resentment. I refused to allow the betrayal to define me or dictate my future. Instead, I channeled my energy into acts of kindness and personal growth during this tumultuous period. I discovered a newfound strength within myself. The pain had stripped away the illusions of invincibility and forced me to confront my vulnerabilities. I came to realize that healing was a process that required time, patience, and self-care. I had assumed that my heart was now impervious to love, but a glimmer of hope entered my life in the form of a compassionate and understanding woman named Sarah. We crossed paths unexpectedly and a connection was formed between us, based on our shared experiences of heartbreak and betrayal. Sarah became my confidant, my rock and my source of solace, as she had her own understanding of the wounds I carried. We engaged in a process of mutual support as we navigated the challenges of our respective recoveries. As the legal proceedings drew to a close, the divorce was finalized, marking the conclusion of a painful chapter in my life. However, it also signaled a new beginning, an opportunity to reclaim my happiness and redefine my future with Sarah by my side. I began to embrace the concept of self-discovery. I engaged in activities that brought me joy, pursued hobbies that had long been neglected, and surrounded myself with positive influences. I traveled to new places, immersing myself in different cultures and expanding my horizons. Over time, the scars from the betrayal began to fade, serving as a reminder of the resilience I had developed and the lessons I had learned along the way. The pain transformed into wisdom, guiding me towards a path of self. I then embarked on a period of personal growth and acceptance. One day, as if by fate, I encountered a compassionate and understanding woman who mirrored the love and kindness that Sarah had shown me. Together, we embarked on a journey of mutual support, understanding, and the restoration of faith in love and trust.